Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I presume.
Correct. With whom do I have the pleasure?
Emilio Esteve, happy to make your acquaintance. I am here on behalf of Mycroft, your brother. He is on his way to Cordona. In the meantime, he requests your assistance with a sensitive matter. My orders are to provide you with the details.
You have my attention, Mr. Esteve.
Mark Ridley, the son of General Arthur Ridley, is being blackmailed. Suffice to say, the compromising material is of a delicate nature. The matter is of no small importance to the Crown, especially given the status quo on Cordona.
What about the status quo?
The Ottoman population holds a certain animosity towards the colonial rule. It's been this way since we took over the island. General Ridley made concessions with their leaders, but I'm afraid we are still teetering on the edge of open hostility.
What does Mycroft want me to do? Retrieve the blackmail material?
No, sir, nothing of the sort. Mark Ridley is meeting the blackmailer atop the old city bridge tower. You shall observe from a distance, then establish the blackmailer's identity. Do not attempt to arrest him. We'll handle it from there.
Saving the best for yourself? Fine.
There is a cafe just over the bridge that provides a good vantage point. Please report to me when you are done. I'll be waiting for you here, and remember, discretion is of the essence.
New case, love, death in Cordonia. So welcome back to some more Sherlock Holmes, chapter 1. This should be part... Why is this damn elephant here? They putting crap all up in my damn yard. Alright, whatever. But anyways, this should, I don't know, be part 4, 5. I'm trying to do the full case in one video, so it can take like an hour or so. So far it's been like over an hour and 30 to sometimes 2 hours. I try to cut out as much as I can, but and it ain't easy. I try to make sure that y'all still get the full info for the case if you're interested about what occurred, what we found, like letters and whatnot. So that's one thing. Oh, now what he said? Oh, the bridge. I had to go to the bridge. Over the bridge. Oh yeah, there was a drowned sailor. I don't care about that right now though, because it's still telling me it was delivered to my front door of the manor, and I saw him at my place, so I just immediately assumed it was connected. But no, I have to go straight to the front door. Hold up. Oh yeah, I did see this, but I saw him looking at this. My bad. That bastard distracted me. All right. A mermaid? Or merman?
It's a bizarre object, and yet oddly familiar.
Did you just remember something?
Yes. A room full of curiosities and artifacts. I think I can find it in the manor.
Sherlock. So, you continue to pursue the imaginary. I had hoped you might have got all this out of your system by now.
Mycroft, what are you doing here? Get out of my house.
It's my house, actually. I've come to bring you back.
I have no interest in returning, let alone with you. I know you lied about Mother all these years, claiming she was merely ill, but she was unstable. She never had tuberculosis. She was not recuperating, but mentally deteriorating, and you never once thought to tell me. How dare...
I shall not indulge this petulant tantrum. You can just tire yourself out and then slink back to London with your tail between your legs.
Just tell me everything. I'm an adult now. Show me the basic courtesy of an explanation. You know I will find out eventually.
The goal was stability, and that's what you got. The right thing for everyone was to try and move on from her passing.
The consequences of one's actions determines what is right or wrong.
Yes, exactly. The ends justify the means. After leaving Cordona, Sherlock, you had a normal childhood. In London, I was able to support you, guide you, shape you into a fine and productive young man. You have so much potential, so much to offer society.
But that's not the end. Now I found the truth, and it has shattered everything I knew about her, about you, and about myself. I feel unstable because of you. Your actions were not justified. Lying never is.
Oh, grow up, Sherlock. It was a white lie which has as much use in the realm of the interpersonal as the international. It is time you come to accept that some things are bigger than yourself.
Oh, you are full of it. You like to pretend you care about the big picture, but it's just an ego trip. You like knowing more than others. You like greasing palms and rubbing shoulders with the rich and powerful. You like having eyes and ears everywhere. The fact it helps the nation is incidental, because all you care about is yourself.
It's true. I have agents everywhere, including Cordona. If you weren't so damn stubborn, you'd realize that means I'm only here for you.
How you gonna tell your brother, for one, to get out of your house? Talking about, or at least referring to a house that y'all both grew up in, not to mention a house that you didn't even remember until, a couple cases ago. And on top of that, y'all not even inside. Sometimes certain lines they have people say in movies and video games, it makes no sense. Like, just stupid. Alright, but I do, it's nice to finally meet Mycroft, whatever. And I would say he's kind of similar to Sherlock, but a little more irritating. Eventually, and he won't even apologize for lying about my mother. Like, really? Like, I cannot wait. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to arrest him. I cannot wait until it happens. Wait till we have a case with him in it. I'm gonna make sure he goes to jail. Don't play with me.
I remember returning home with a pair of perfect sticks. We wanted to turn them into training swords.
Oh, that's right. We stood there, frozen, staring at something huge in the main hall. It was a giant aquarium with a living mermaid in it.
Impossible, it must have been something else. Oh, of course, that mortifying hoax presently taking up space in our front yard.
Well, fine. Your memory's better than mine. But I'm sure we started examining it immediately. And someone else was around too.
It was my mother. She asked what I thought of the artifact.
You were really concentrating and holding something in your hand.
I inspected it with a magnifying glass and was able to confirm it was made of two different skeletons. The mermaid was a fake.
And so it was time to smash the thing. Your mother took a hammer and...
Slow down, John. That's not how it happened. I remember other people joined us. The workers took the artifact and placed it into the cabinet of curiosities. It became part of Mother's collection of fakes. She always said that the truth lies in the details. This mermaid helped me to learn that.
Yeah, we knew it was a fake. I don't even know why they needed that clarified.
Ah yes, my mother's studio. She was an authenticator, and this was her cabinet of curiosities.
I never saw the point. What does it matter if some artifact is real or not? It still exists.
See, this is giving me some more Sinking City vibes. Letter from the judge. Dear Mr. Holmes, please accept my deepest gratitude for your recent help with that personal matter. I shudder to think what may have happened were it not for your keen eye and sharp mind. Rest assured, should our paths cross once again, you will be greeted by a grateful friend, His Honor Judge McDougall, whatever.
Carefully opened. dated 24th of April, 1869.
Mr. Mycroft Holmes, the Cordonia City Hall writes to inform you that the trial of Dr. Otto Richter in the death of Mrs. Violet Holmes has been assigned to his honor, Judge McDougall. Your application for a closed hearing has been granted. You are hereby informed that the prosecution has called you as a primary witness in the trial. You must present yourself at the Criminal Court of Cordonia on the dates listed over leaf.
The so-called mummy of a Persian princess. The defrauders did good work, but missed one small detail. It's the mummy of a man.
A torn diploma found in the cabinet of curiosities. Someone deliberately ripped it into several pieces, reassembled and translated. The diploma reads, on behalf of the board of the University of Geneva, Switzerland, we, rectors of the university, noting that Dr. Otto Richter has undergone the test required by the laws and regulations, conferred him the degree of Doctor of Medicine with the rights and prerogatives so attached.
Clearly, it was deliberately torn.
Mrs. Holmes is a patient of considerable interest and an ideal test subject to explore some of my theories. I will attempt to repeatedly immerse her in the traumatic situation that precipitated her mental illness. It is my belief that reliving that moment may give her mind a chance to embrace what happened, accept it, and effectively cure itself. I'm confident in my hypothesis and merely need to prove it. In addition, it's fortuitous to be around the broader Holmes family. Perhaps I will be able to also examine the heredity of psychological traits. Or disorders. It is already apparent that all family members share an uncommonly high intelligence. It appears that the mother's condition has begun to affect the mind of the youngest boy, Sherlock. While I cannot conduct a proper medical examination due to the protectiveness of the older son, it seems that the boy suffers ongoing hallucinations in form of imaginary friend Jim. Yep. I heard you recently arrived in Cordonia. Have you come to see me? I do miss our evening conversations, even if we never agreed in our opinions. Cordonia is home to a stunning new art gallery, which I visit every Thursday. Meet me there. Oh, and do not seek Claus. I left that name behind. So when she got sick, he stayed here? A lot of his stuff, like the letters addressed to him, is here. And then he was convicted, or I wouldn't say he was convicted, but he was accused of murdering her. Was it on purpose, or did he give her like the wrong dosage of medicine or something?
The full plate armor of Sir Robert Swanford. I was told my father won it in a wager.
Armor is armor, but look at his sword. Oh, how badly I wanted to wield the blade. Maybe you take it instead of your pistol.
I'm starting to remember something. Photo caused a lot of fuss. My mother spent some time to prove it was a fake. Single malt whiskey, Mycroft's favourite. Gifted by Queen Victoria herself.
After a bottle of fine single malt whiskey, Mycroft's favorite, we found it locked in the drawer of the desk in the curiosity cabinet among a pile of important documents. Remarkably, it seems that the whiskey was a gift of Her Majesty Queen Victoria herself.
Otto Richter. This one is rather thick. Mycroft can be truly dogged in his research.
Otto Richter is 45 years old. He looked older. Born to a respected family in Bern, Switzerland, unmarried, no heirs. Medical practitioner, graduated from the University of Geneva. Graduation was postponed a year due to a minor scandal on one of his placements. Parents died of cholera in 1863. Only remaining family is a half-brother, Claus, age 35. Present whereabouts of Claus Richter unknown, last seen on Cordonia.
Dossiers on the most influential people on Cordona. Mycroft always had a habit of building files on everyone he met.
Come on, Sherry. Let's go outside. Wait. Did you hear that? Come here, Sherry.
You call this progress? Charlatan, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
So there was a quarrel between them.
It all happened shortly after the incident in Violet's room. On April 9th, Sherry decided to play with artifacts in the cabinet of curiosities, and of course, I went with him. As a result, we became unintentional witnesses to an argument between Mycroft and Otto. Sherlock's brother was angry. He was sure that Dr. Richter had done something dubious to their mother, and that it had backfired. He called Otto a charlatan.
I heard a noise in the hall. Let's check it out.
What?
Sherry, look! We've got a parcel here. Hurry up and let's see what's inside.
They ain't knocked, they don't have a key, they just be coming in my place. Damn. I'm waiting for you at Manchio's mansion on Turquoise Lane across from Cordonia Abbey in northern Grand Surrey. Come at once. If inconvenient, come anyway. Always your friend Vivi. P.S. I send you the appropriate outfit for this place to avoid any unnecessary complications. I hope it fits. I have a feeling he knows more about my mother's death than he's letting on. He keeps sending me stuff from our childhood that our mother used to own. So
an invitation that comes.
Something about him, sacrificial lamb.
We can't miss this, Sherry.
Oh yeah, do I have to change right now? Ooh. Ooh. Now I feel like I'm playing Hitman right now for some reason. Jeez. Know how long it took me to try to find this damn entrance? God damn. He should have said on Vernet Street, since that's the only way I could come into this damn place. You can't come in through the Turquoise Lane part. Thank you, Vogel, whatever his damn name was. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I don't like this. I feel like this is probably one of those events that Thomas went to where he raped that slave girl.
Sir.
Well, not slave, but refugee.
Enjoy the evening, sir. There is still plenty of time before the grand finale.
All right.
What if I write an article about these people here? Can you help me gather information about Cordona's elite?
See, I was right. I literally just said I feel like this is the type of a party that Thomas had went to where he had raped that girl. So I don't like this. And where did that girl step out from? Over here? What am I supposed to do? What are you doing, John?
You have such pretty hands. What can you do with them?
I'm so excited about the event.
Hey, Ansar, I see that look in your eyes.
Oh, don't act like you haven't thought about it, darling. Oh, I heard the finale will be splendid.
Do not distract me. It's not easy to play blindfolded.
for the big
My
world.
goodness, Sherlock. They made a blood fountain.
No, John, it's definitely not blood, just wine. Go is it a guess?
I was about to say, who know my damn name, but it was John that was yelling. Never mind. What's up in here? What's up in here?
Sherlock! Friend! I wasn't sure you'd come.
Werner, I see you are not yourself.
The more time you spend here in Cordona, the more I feel it my duty to bring you into our world and show you all we have to offer.
And what is on offer today?
Pleasure, indulgence, relief, and relaxation. You've earned some time for yourself, have you not?
Those who know me would say I'm incapable of it.
Nonsense. I refuse to believe there is anyone permitted to know Sherlock Holmes.
You may be right.
Then free yourself from inhibition and expectation. The night is young, and so are the guests. You should try to enjoy both. It's not healthy for handsome men to spend every night alone, and certainly not in a house filled with such melancholic memories.
I must admit, my travels have proven more taxing than expected. I'm less confident in my life and myself. A time of relaxation seems a distant dream.
So can I tempt you with a physical aid to your moral consolations? There's wine, of course, and something to smoke, or perhaps an artificial paradise? Yes, something more spiritual, a potentiator to sharpen the mind. A 7% solution of, well, that'd be telling, but you must try it.
My mind already operates at a far higher level than most. I struggle to believe anything could improve it. My ultimate duty is to provide the world with truth, and I do that perfectly well as is.
Duty? You've never cared about that before.
Of course I do. Exposing a lie, revealing a fact, that is a moral responsibility.
That's not morality. Morals are what happens afterwards when truth collides with consequence. Do you ever follow up on cases you solved? Do you ever see what happened next, visit the victims, ensure justice is served in the courts? And how do you choose where to direct your attention? Are there not deserving causes to which your brilliance could be applied but isn't?
You ascribe me more power than I possess. I have a narrow skill set and work within that mandate. What occurs afterward is irrelevant.
With every action or inaction, you place a finger on the scales of morality. Many in the city would see you as abdicating your responsibility.
I haven't.
Not me, of course. Morality is subjective, just like truth. There is little to be gained from indulging in it, and far better things to indulge in. Now I must insist on easing any burdens I've placed upon your shoulders. Show yourself a kindness, and try this rather delectable concoction.
If this solution truly does assist with thinking, then well, perhaps it would be puerile to overlook an opportunity to study it. I'll take it with me.
Yes, Sherlock. Very good. And now, our evening begins in earnest. I just remembered. I'm sorry, Sherlock. My mind's delightfully impaired. Please take this key. It opens the altar room, past the library.
Pardon? Altar room? What now, Werner?
Go quickly and find our Fabio. Only you can make him talk. I'll join you in a minute.
Manchester.
Before he met Joe's family, the mansion was owned by an occultist architect. He dedicated his life to conducting a powerful ritual from the forgotten tome. But the ordinary magic circles provided too weak for it. That is why he built this mansion. A keen eye might notice that its shape corresponds with certain magical symbols, and some walls have cavities. On this day, one day, the architect simply disappeared. An ash stain on the floor was all that remained. Perhaps he was successful in his endeavor.
That's what I like about this party. Bring me more dirt, Sherry. One more piece, and I can expose these base hedonists. My God. Was he here this whole time?
Of course, just like Sherlock, to stumble upon a murder scene. Well, I guess technically he didn't stumble upon it, he was led here. But whatever, you get my point, I guess. He always happens to whatever, forget it.
The herbs here are Salvia divinorum. They have a slight hallucinogenic effect to emphasize the ceremony. This elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger. This oil has a slight aroma of flowers and olive. The ointment smells mouse-like. I presume it is an aphrodisiac prepared from a Spanish fly. The sign reminds me of the astrological symbol for Mars. This one looks like a twisted symbol of Venus, drawn in a hurry. Handcrafted and luxurious cufflinks. There's also a note. For my Fabio, Manchos. The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me. The capital F on the key fob might refer to Fabio. This is a different ritual.
Alright, I hear a little bit of static. Let me turn my mic down a little bit. Hold up. Alright, new day, new recording. So let's see what we got. Ritual scenario. I found a scenario, some art of ritual with a remark written at the beginning. It says, read and rehearse this rite. Mantios. The naked woman lies on the altar on a bed of flowers symbolizing Mother Gaia. Reminds me of Horizon Forbidden West. The one who leads the ritual oils the body of the woman to awaken her inner fertility. The participants should chant at this moment and call for the man who can please Mother Gaia. Then the man who will impersonate the principle of life may come to engage in sexual congress with her. What the hell? Don't ignore the guests, Matista, and stop boring them. They don't want to hear about your stupidities. They want to feel how beautiful they are and how generous you could be towards them. You are here to please and celebrate life. Remember, each guest paid a great deal to be with you. Manchios. It's like a prostitution ring. What the hell?
How can anyone accept such behavior?
A useful tool for a disguise arsenal. Identical to the robes the guests are wearing.
Oh my gosh. Don't complain. I would assume people, if you are watching this party, you at least watch the parts before it, so you would know. I'm surrounded by idiots over here. Jeez.
Props, decorations, and tools for a more detailed set.
Because I know y'all heard that scream. I don't know what they're doing.
Enough cigars to burn down the entire mansion.
Really?
Blood. A sturdy bottle met a not-so-sturdy human. It didn't break only because it was unopened.
Because it was unopened, so if it was open, it'll break from... Forget it. That's interesting. But alright, what else we got? What else? Come on.
Why don't people tidy up after themselves?
It's a good question. Now, I looked around everywhere else. I just saved the examining the body for last. Let's see what we have up here.
This crude tattoo partially covers as slave branding.
Whoa.
A blunt force trauma may have suffered an internal hemorrhage. This worm-like sigil has been drawn with his own blood. This golden handle has a bloodstain on it. The dagger is heavy and sharp, but lacks balance. The victim has clenched the fabric so firmly in his fist that it's nigh impossible to remove it.
The hell? You weird, man. I'm gonna come back to you. Let me make sure I got everything now, you weirdo. Just standing there, geez. There were droplets of blood on the carpet. There was... let me see, where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, one day the architect simply disappeared. And our ash stain on the floor was all that remained. That's what popped up in my head when I read that, but never mind. It was an ash stain, not blood stain. Almost like it was like replicating, I don't know. Forget it. Cut this part out.
A person leaned against the doorframe. They left a smudged trail of blood.
Werner, care to explain what is going on here?
On nights like these, it's not unusual for some attendees to get a little exuberant. It's part of the appeal. Unfortunately, it appears things have gotten out of hand. Yes, some are more prone to bend the rules of morality.
That's murder. I doubt there's anything left to bend. Why did you not tell me immediately? We were chatting about trivial matters for some time.
If I'm completely honest, Sherlock, I've consumed a rather potent cocktail of substances. My attention slips and drifts. But I'm glad I thought to call for you.
You sent me a disguise.
Oh dear, did I? Well, since I found the body, Mr. Manchios has agreed that you can investigate the matter. I promise my mind will behave itself going forward.
All right. Pull yourself together, Werner. What is it about these nights that you were so eager to share with me?
Well, they're not always in the evenings, but they are in the shadows. People gather to test their boundaries in a safe and consensual atmosphere. Often with more stains than your typical crime scene. But that is the point. Who are we to judge?
I suppose that's fair. What about today, then? Was anything different?
Well, I was invited as a special guest. It was supposed to be a time of both divine and carnal pleasures. A scratch for every unconventional itch.
I imagine you're reeling from your shattered expectations.
On the contrary, there is still spectacle, stimulation, and release, merely in a different form. I like to let life entertain me.
Or death. Mr. Manchios is the owner of the manor, yes?
And the host of Cordona's most memorable parties. He promises even the ugliest guest a partner for the night. And for the ones with more unconventional tastes, Mr. Manchios provides other services.
What a caring person.
You cannot begin to imagine.
How did you discover the body? In between guzzles of alcohol?
I was set to perform in a fecundity rite with Fabio and came to inquire further. It was a staged ritual where he was to play the principle of life.
And the rehearsal was unsuccessful?
Who knows? I found him alone on the altar, his blood dripping to the floor.
And then?
Then I called Mr. Manchios. He was panicking, so I told him about you. We left the room and locked the door. Then we were...
filling time?
Waiting for you was stressful. We indulged in some simple comforts. Overindulged, perhaps.
Were you well acquainted with Fabio, the victim?
Everyone knew Fabio, or wanted to. His beauty was the talk of the island. Too handsome to go unnoticed. He was magnetic. Fat wallets fought for the privilege of having him. He offered the pleasures of performance, and more.
When you discovered the body, was the door open?
No, it was locked. Oh, that reminds me. It's a minor detail, but the first time I came to speak to Fabio, I left without entering, having been unable to open the door.
You didn't have the key?
No, I had it. Don't look at me like that. I was mostly sober. I suspect there was a key in the other side of the door, blocking the lock.
That detail may very well be major, Werner. Well done. So you returned later only to find the lock was not blocked?
Correct. After an hour had passed, I tried again and was able to unlock the door. That's when I discovered poor, handsome Fabio.
What about the fertility ritual? There was something about Fabio being a principle of life.
Fabio was supposed to portray the beauty of life's origin. Flowers, oil... Not this travesty that seems straight out the Inquisition.
So this ritual is not the fertility rite. What was it meant to look like?
It begins with a woman lying naked in a flower bed on the altar. She represents Gaia, the earth. As I cover her in oils, we chant for the principle. As our calls reach a climax, Fabio enters and copulates with her. After he finishes, I stab her with a dagger. That part's just pretend, of course.
But the intercourse is not?
I did not expect you to be such a prude. Are you a virgin? It is nothing to be ashamed of, but it would explain the color of your cheeks. The fertility rite marks the start of our festivities. The principle of life is beautiful, intimate, essential. It must not be stopped.
Yet it appears that someone did stop it. What about the naked woman? Can you tell me anything about her?
Oh yes, Matista. She's one of Fabio's compatriots and a performer too. I haven't seen her today, actually.
The police remain unaware of this tragic event?
Some of them may be hiding behind their masks. They conceal many things. But we didn't want the authorities to create more problems. Besides, after a few cocktails, their incompetence will have soared to new heights.
How do you know I even want the case?
I promised you relaxation. If there's one thing I know about you, Sherlock, it's that nothing soothes you more than a good mystery.
So, Sherry, do you have any ideas about the case?
Perhaps. I think I can deduce what happened here.
Are you a virgin? Are you sure we have enough to deduce what happened here? Because, I was on my phone when he was talking a little bit, and that virginity thing kind of brought me back to what I was doing with this video game. But let me see. I wasn't facing that way when I went. I guess it wasn't. Never mind. There wasn't bruises on his neck for him to. I think he was just unconscious from being hit by that bottle. But he was clenching a thing, so he was awake when he was stabbed. Maybe the stab just woke him up. I don't know. I woke him up momentarily, anyways.
The bottle was used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door. The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloodied robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
Are you all right? You're on the floor, not moving.
I think I know what happened here.
Wait, would it be this and this? Yeah, there we go. Okay, was sacrificed on the altar during an occult ritual. The ritual was staged. It was a cover for the true murder motive. I want to say this, but yeah, I would say it was staged to kind of blend in with the scenario, the play that they was gonna do. Let's go with that. Just leave it like that for a while then. It's clear the murderer had a key. If I find out who had a key to the altar room, I'll shrink the circle of suspects. Okay.
I'm starting to put the pieces together.
Fabio was stabbed.
I see nothing gets past you, Werner. Yes, he was stabbed, but only after being knocked out in the next room and placed here. I do not yet know why.
So, who's responsible?
Well, it was one person working alone, and the murderer has now donned a robe. He or she could be hiding in plain sight. We have lost time, Werner, but your discretion may prove to be a benediction after all.
I hear a neighbor talking, so hopefully it's not being picked up by the mic and you don't hear it, but if you do, again, I apologize.
The murderer had to have access to this room. After the crime, he used his own key to lock the door. So, who had the key to the altar room?
I'm not sure. As a special guest, I was provided one by Mr. Manchios. He should be able to tell you of any others.
Where can I find him?
Most likely in the main hall, entertaining his guests. He has a mask with golden stars. You can't miss him. But please be discreet. We don't want to risk disturbing the revelry.
Kurt Manchios, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchios. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you.
The body in the altar room requires answers, and quickly. I suspect the murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
I need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Also, Matista and Santos.
Santos? Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on? Freeze, filth. You're under arrest.
Look at you. Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand, and apologize for the inconvenience.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in this letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig? Oh, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
You knew my mother?
Not personally, no. Not exactly. I was working on the paperwork for that case.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
I'm trying to think which one would be the better option. If I say we can negotiate, what would... If he helps me, what would he get from me? Because you know he's going to want something back. Or does he want me to, I don't know, finish the case? Something I was going to do already? But then he might see it as a bribe or, I don't know, something bad or something. I don't know.
Perhaps we can negotiate. I could be quite useful.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Let's make a start then, partner.
We should have listened to the guests there. Now I have nothing to write about.
Shut up, John. Not like you could write anything people could read anyways. Following a report from a witness of the satanic ritual who claimed to have found a body, the raid on the Monchios mansion was granted. It resulted in the arrest of multiple suspects and dispersal of the group in masks and robes caught in acts of gross indecency and unnatural behavior. The body of the victim was found lying on the altar with a knife wound in his chest. The officers identified the victim, Fabio, 20. He doesn't have a last name. A local painter. Oh, excuse me, a local performer. An artist. Arrested suspects V. Vogel had a letter of an insulting nature in his possession, which had been written by the victim. He claims to have found the body. He is infamous for his eccentric personality, as Holmes carried a murder weapon, a dagger with the victim's blood and other items of evidence. He was invited by another suspect, presumably to obstruct the official investigation. K. Monchios, owner of the mansion and organizer of the satanic party, paid the victim to participate in the ritual, had access to the crime scene, It's his house. Batista, Fabio's partner and participant in the ritual, tried to escape, resisted arrest, owned a book with a description of the ritual performed, and so they got her at the same event. So she was there apparently. Some of the guests are temporarily detained for further questioning. Why would he even give me access to finish investigating this this murder scene if I'm listed as one of the suspects? Like, I understand that he probably knows me and knows I was working with the police station before, or currently, but especially during this time, if you're listed as a suspect, then you're a suspect. The provider of this ticket has permission to inspect all the evidence on a case number 6260. I, Santos Pinchetti, am a witness who reports a suspicion of murder at Monchios Mansion in Grand Surrey. So he was the one who alerted the police to that place. He did it. During preparations for the social party, I heard loud noises from the closed altar room. Immediately I thought of the sacrifice of a living being overviewed by none other than Kurt Monchios. There was blood on the walls, strange symbols, and a dagger in the heart. As soon as I was able to think clearly, I rushed to the police station to report my findings. The station responded to the deposition by sending a patrol, while the witness left the station and went home. He did it. Oh, he did it. They just drinking? But forget it. They should be considered suspects too. Matter of fact, they was at the party. Everybody they found at the party should be a suspect. What you talking about?
This area is restricted.
Is that the downstairs? Ooh. That's never good in a jail. Why is there blood on that? They be holding. Look, see, police. Even in during that raid thing, they was hitting people that was on their knees with their hands up, or was about to at least. Well, they did. You know they did. Now they holding people up against this wall, tying them up and beating them. You see all that blood? That's a lot of blood. It's always. Never mind. Forget it. Never mind. Forget it.
Good day, Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers. The new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the boars again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy, after all.
I need to examine you first.
Okay, he wears makeup, a rash from exposure to hair dye, wash hands in a hurry, lavishly expensive. Okay, Monchios is extremely rich, eccentric, and frivolous. And he likes the younger guys, apparently. A creep, too. He is the organizer of the parties for Cordonia's elites and the owner of the Monchios mansion. He spends his life in the company of similarly overprivileged people. However, Mr. Monchios wishes to hide his true age from the younger participants of his parties. He is concerned with aging to the point where he uses makeup and hair dye to look younger. I was gonna say something, but forget it. His being sociable in this manner has made him cautious regarding his health. He uses chemicals and hair dye to clean and improve himself to the extent that it damages his skin. If he's holding those kind of parties at his mansion, I doubt he's a stickler for cleanliness.
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true laborers, I see. Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protégé and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
Bruises obtained recently, old and barely visible, inflicted with a branding iron, self-inflicted, inks herself. How you know she inked herself? It's not easy to ink yourself, especially on a chest. Unless she did it like through a mirror, that'd be weird. But Matista, the performer and Fabio's partner, has had a. Are they saying Fabio's partner as in like girlfriend, or is they saying like her the performing partner. I don't know. Has had a difficult life. She was branded and enslaved while still a child. While enslaved, she met Fabio, hence their similar branding. Old scars are the result of her slavery during adolescence. She continues to be haunted by these traumatic experiences. She has a genuine interest in mysticism, since she has tattooed her body with occult symbols. Batista tries to get over her past, and the life of a performer seems to be an opportunity for her to earn money dissociated from her body. The performer has had a difficult life, blah, 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 blah. Seems to be pragmatic about her body after years of abuse. She sells herself to the guests who do whatever they want to her. She's not afraid to step over the line. Batista marks her body with ink. Punishes herself for I think it's this one, dissociated from her body. Didn't she even say that when we first came in? She said something weird. I forgot. I'll quote it after this part. Hold on.
You have both old and new scars. Some from the time when you were a slave with Fabio. Other scars have a different origin. The guests pay good money to torment you?
I am skilled in giving pleasure, but I don't participate in such practices.
I thought your body was...
For sale? It's true. Many unwanted things were done to my body. And the pain helped me to discover...
Occult deities? Yes, the tattoo speaks loudly of it.
Yes. Your gods abandoned me, and the ones I favor now are more protective of me.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Cordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes.
It literally starts when I'm started recording. It's like people outside know when I'm recording. They start making noise outside. 3:24:23. See? And you got people upstairs, not upstairs, on the ceiling doing whatever, and they keep banging and dropping I swear to... Ooh. I'm gonna just have to do this part with my mic off, so... I'll wait till they come down, but I want to play this game right now, but I don't want to wait until they're done, so... I'm gonna try to chime in when I can, but in the meantime, I'm gonna try to keep my mic off. See? See? I'm about to get violent. I swear.
Werner, are you all right?
Oh, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police everything I knew, but they refused to let you go. They require proof to free you.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obeys?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
There are lines I will not cross, Werner. I will do my best to secure your release, but with proof, not deception.
Really? How many white lies have you told on this island? Why not for me? Why not another?
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope. I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti.
Do I know him?
The major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you?
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here. They brought him in, Mr. Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you. I recognize the key from the altar room among these.
I'm gonna try to read it for you since it's kind of quiet right now. Oh, nope. They're still doing it on the roof. They're still going crazy. Alright, let me read it real fast. Alright, a small note attached to the will says, Santos, my hopeful slug. You begged me to include you in my will, so I did. Here's my latest revision of the will. Kurt. The text of the will under the note. Hold on, is that it? Alright, Santos Pinchetti, the major domo of the Monchios mansion, receives a jar of mustache wax and a salt lamp that he might always remember his caring employer, Kurt Monchios.
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds.
Alright, I like to read these out loud, so let me hurry up before they start making noise again. Alright. Patch holes, repair multiple times. What is that? Psoriasis or allergy? Colored more than once. Stepped in blood. There's a train going by. Santos Pinchetti is the head servant at the Monchios mansion. Despite being employed at the highest position within the household, he appears to be poor. His body shows symptoms of psoriasis. Mr. Pinchetti hides his damaged skin under layers of makeup. The major domo suit had multiple holes that had been patched or sewn to renovate the suit's look. Mr. Pinchetti had dyed it. Despite having enough Despite having enough money, Mr. Pinchetti spends a little of it as possible. Cheap makeup hides imperfections on his body in an attempt to look more modern. He has dyed his suit on several occasions to save him even more money. The major domo appears to have personally repaired multiple holes in the suit. Okay.
You are the major domo of a rich mansion, and you seem barely able to afford decent clothing. You hide, under heavy makeup, a skin disease that might be treated with more onerous but less harmful means. Do you have money troubles?
Do not have a lot of means. The pay is below what you might expect.
But you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your elementary needs.
One can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe, where does that come from?
I don't actually know. Perhaps from a guest?
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Monchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always, Fabio-centric?
And Batista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Monchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Monchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose.
Mr. Monchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a major domo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle. And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love, cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a major domo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him.
Did you hear Basilio
My curiosity has piqued by talk that Basilio Copello, the owner of the famous armored Copello home security company, has been arrested. His situation is quite peculiar. A man named Niccolo Detti has been found dead inside a safe in Basilio's store. Basilio claims innocence, but the evidence is against him. He has been held in the holding cells at the police station.
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you.
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second. I'll bring it to the table.
The police found this occult book in Matisse's bag during their arrest. According to the ex-libris, the whatever was taken from Mangio's collection. It contains illustrations and descriptions of a ritual similar to the crime scene. Prepare the naked body of a recently deceased object of interest. Draw symbols of Mars and Venus to enhance the power you possess. To use the force of male and female nature. Pierce his heart with a golden dagger to be rid of the blood that does not love you. I hear an ambulance. Draw a symbol representing your love while waiting for the resurrection. Recite the charm. What was this symbol to represent the love, though? I don't remember.
The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room.
The letter that was found in Vogel's evidence box. Is your mind unsound? You can't control your bitterness, not around me anyway. For me, it's too great a risk to ignore that kind of behavior. I can speak, and play with anyone I choose. I'm not another Matista. You pay me, but you haven't bought me. Of course, I'll keep all your generous donations, even though they hardly compensate for your last terrible outburst. I'm leaving you, although Matissa will still be around. Fabio.
Not the time for privacy. This book, The Power of Love, Blood, and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so. Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchios?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchios.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
You being on a bender?
Touché.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protégé wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
I appreciate your cooperation, Mr. Manchios. Wait just a moment, I have something to check. Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
Alright, Matista was afraid of Fabio's growing popularity and ambition. She wanted to keep him with her for as long as possible. In a last-ditch effort, Matista conducted a love ritual during which she killed Fabio. As a product of a tormented life, she knows no difference between good and evil. She wanted her love to stay with her always. She deserves help. She needs to be treated and have a chance to get over her past in an asylum. For years, Fabio played with Kurt Manchios' heart and abused his interest in the young performer. When Manchios received yet another rejection, he murdered Fabio and staged a love ritual to avoid suspicion. That's what I was going to point out in a second. Kurt Manchios was heartbroken and panicked but did not mean to kill Fabio. The improvised ritual was a desperate attempt to cover up the crime. A prison sentence should be enough, for his harsher punishment is the death of his love. Pinchetti has worked for his uncle for years in the deep hope of obtaining his heritage. Manchios' hostility and humiliations pushed Pinchetti to kill Fabio and frame his uncle. Manchios' imprisonment will make Pinchetti the only lawful heir. The only way for Pinchetti to right his wrongs was to rid of his monstrous uncle. Pinchetti should be punished for the crime of murder, but he has suffered enough and deserves a fresh start after a prison sentence. So this is a new day. This is a new day. I had to think about which who I wanted to accuse, because this is you would think there'd be a little bit more information to guide you towards who is the correct one, but of course they really make you choose, and they don't give you a correct answer. It's just who you pick. I was gonna pick him simply because of the blood on his shoes. Now I watch I watch like true crime shows and everything, so I'll be learning some stuff. I've been watching that type of stuff for like since I was little, to believe to tell you the truth. So I think I learned a little bit something, and the blood stain or the blood splatter on his shoes made it seem like he was there when Fabio was killed. So I'm assuming that he was there, because if it was his uncle and he was there, then he would have said that it was his uncle, since he doesn't really like his uncle and he wants to be the lawful heir to whatever is left of the family legacy or whatever. So that's the only main reason I wanted to pick him. But other than that, I don't really think it was him. I think it was Manchios, because even when we was interrogating him, and we had asked him about the book that what's her name, that girl had stole and she was using. he was saying that he didn't believe in like the rituals and stuff like that, but he still had the book. So I'm assuming he used, because the guy Fabio, the victim, he was hit on the head. It was like sitting somewhere and he was hit on the head, attacked. Then the ritual, whatever, the stabbing was staged. So I'm assuming it was him, because if it wasn't him, it wouldn't make sense for the girl to do it, especially when she believes in it, but she doesn't. She believes more of the love fantasy type of things, like protection and stuff, especially in her line of work. So I don't really think that she done it, other than the fact that she took the book, but she practices this stuff. So maybe it was Manchios and he's trying to frame her for it, obviously, because she's colored, and then she's like a prostitute or something. So of course they're gonna automatically blame her, who she wasn't Fabio's lover, right? They were just like childhood friends, right? Well, she loved him, but I don't know if it was mutual. But I'm leaning towards Manchios, so I'm gonna pick Manchios. But I want to pick him because of the blood spatter and my slight knowledge of that. Thank you, but I'm gonna pick Manchios. I don't like that little bastard, anyways. All right, let's go. What do you want to think? All right, it's over for you, Manchios. He in cold blood, he staged your karma's ritual, see to blame, that's her name, Matista. He planted the letter in Volgo's pocket to avoid suspicion. Manchios has no consideration for the life of others and deserves to be hanged. A sexual predator, yep, I'm picking that, yep. Goodbye. It's over for you. Where you at? You over here, right? Over here. What's up?
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation.
That might be true. That poor girl Matista wouldn't dare to kill the only man who cared for her. So, Santos.
Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to solve his problems.
Ungrateful little scum. Will he be executed?
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all. He couldn't stage the ritual, but he found the body, I believe.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
Mr. Vogel. He had no reason, and he won't be a scapegoat as you plan. You put Fabio's letter in his pocket when he was intoxicated, didn't you?
You can't be serious.
You're at the twilight of your life. You have no partner, you have no children. You had feelings, however, for one man. That was Fabio. You loved him. That is, you wished to own him with money and gifts. But he was also a free mind, was he not? He turned his back on you. Quite unjust. Love, so cruel and painful, and Fabio, with his words and deeds, made you feel the more wretched. So you killed him.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow me to hurt anyone.
And sensitive my ass. Also, I forgot to mention, I was going to mention that, but I forgot. What's his name? Pinchetti had, he reported the crime. Now, since the crime was technically hidden, like, behind, like, it was downstairs. Was it downstairs? Well, it was locked away, is the point. And only a few people have the key. And the other people that do have the key, I don't see them really using that area where this was staged. So he didn't need to find, or at least report, the crime. He could have just like left it under there, let the body rot, let evidence, I wouldn't say fade, but you know, he could have gotten away with it if he wanted to, if he did it, but he reported it right when he found it. And I think, well, actually, it works out for him, because I think he reported it because he figured that it was his uncle anyways. But then at the beginning of the case, they were supposed to be doing like a play that resembles the crime scene. So somebody would have stumbled upon the body at some point, but probably not as soon as it did if it wasn't for his leak, I guess. I don't know. Leaking the crime scene? Or alerting, whatever.
You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties. It was your way of avoiding suspicion. A respectable man in his 60s,
Early 60s.
who hosts the cream of Cordona society, cannot possibly be a murderer. But the guests who behave like animals in his mansion, of course, one of them could have killed Fabio.
I did oversee a few of the rituals, but I did not stage Fabio's death.
We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes or their fingernails. You are a meticulous person, but this murder was fairly traumatic and filthy. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse the soap from under your fingernails. The devil is in the details, Mr. Manchios.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because of the busy schedule of the party.
Of course, a staged murder was certainly not planned. The young performer played with your emotions. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way you would have liked. You wanted to be loved. Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You struck him, and then you staged the ritual. You planted the letter in Vogel's pocket and attempted to set up Matista.
What poppycock? Sherlock, stop this game now.
There is no stop word, Mr. Manchios. Relax and enjoy it. I'll pass the remainder of this case to Constable Oswald. He'll know what to do with you.
Yeah. Alright, let's go to him. Let's see what he has as far as our mother's investigation goes. But let's get ready to end this episode. This is, like I said, this is a new recording. I've been recording for like 14 minutes now. It's what, June 6th. Almost, well, it's about to be June 7th. It's about to be midnight. I just got turned around. Hold on. Oh, wait, hold up. But yeah, I'm gonna start recording the next case after this. I still haven't even uploaded the first part. I'm gonna try to do I'm not even gonna make any promises, because I was trying to like do as many cases as I can so they could like come out or be published like back to back. But what part is this, like part 4 or 5 or something? So I might as well just start publishing it and whatnot, and just produce it as do it how I can. Jeez, just do it how I can. And for whatever reason, like I like to use like thumbnails, like usually like the wallpaper that the company of whatever the game is releases. But for some, and there's usually like with Sherlock games, there usually be like a lot of wallpaper. Like for the previous ones that I did, there was a lot for thumbnail for it to be used for a thumbnail for each part. But with this game, no. So I'm gonna have to do it old school, like a lot of old YouTubers, older YouTubers used to do back in the day. So I'm just gonna use the same wallpaper for each part, and just obviously change, like, you know, the part and the number or whatever. And I'll probably save the other special ones for the other. There's extra cases that you could buy with this game that I'm probably gonna do, depending on what's. I don't think anything's coming out anytime soon. I thought A Plague Tale Requiem was coming out around this time, but they would have released something. They would have released something by now, but apparently not. This girl almost scared the hell out of me. Jeez. But yeah. Alright, let's get it. What you got for me?
I have a name for you. Kurt Manchios.
Is that so? The master of the Sabbath?
The man himself. Mr. Manchios couldn't stand to lose control over his lover. A deadly revenge that deserves a proper sentence. I have all the evidence to charge him.
A degenerate and a murderer. I'll make a name thanks to that for sure. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
Alright, case completed. Sacrificial lamb. Let's see what next case we're gonna stumble upon. But anyways, we're gonna read this in the next video. So your gameplay. I wasn't. Okay, whatever. Alright, I'll see you in the next episode that I'm about to start now. But we'll see. I doubt I'll finish it all in one go, but whatever. See you soon. Bye.